Next up is Gerri's team, Team 56. Come on, Randy.
We had a team total of 6. I lost one because of the accident. She couldn't find where we were, and I'm not very good at giving directions. Not that I'm a school bus driver, by the way. But anyway, don't ask me for directions. But our team went down, and we had a total of, well, we started off with 9, and then family emergency took 3 of ours away. So all of a sudden we ended up with 6. But God really blessed our 6. We just bonded so much together, probably because I had really long meetings. But we really shared our hearts, and we also had a mission statement that kind of, over the period of weeks and months leading up to our trip, we came up with a saying that is on the back of our shirt. And yeah, you don't have to put your arms up. But anyway, what it says, if you don't know Spanish, because we didn't know Spanish, so we made sure we got Mike to give us the good interpretation, so we put it in Spanish. Translation, there you go. It says, you are loved, valued, and set free through Jesus Christ. And we really wanted our shirts to share that message with them, and that was really upon our hearts, that we wanted the people to know that the ministry there is, they can be set free with Jesus Christ. I mean, we were talking about how neat and how just loving the people are down there that we minister to, and I just really appreciated, this is my 2nd year going, and I led the team. I just felt that another team needed to go, and I was willing to step up, and if anybody that needed to come, during the summer. And I just felt the Lord just reach into our working with, I don't even know where I was going with that, but I just felt that the Lord leading me to take a team down. And it was interesting how God, even though I was the organizer and things like that, we had other people in our group that just stepped up. One of our ladies stepped up, and she was just like our spiritual leader. I mean, she just felt God's call on her life, and in regards to, like, all of a sudden just stop and pray. We'd be like halfway to Comiagua to do our ministry, and she was like, we just need to stop and pray. And or different situations that were there, and we were just really blessed by different people doing that. And I appreciate that my husband came this year. It's really a blessing to be able to go as a couple. I went last year by myself. I shouldn't say with myself. I went last year with my daughter, and it was life-changing in my heart, and something that in my life last year, see, we didn't have this last year, so I can share a testimony last year, but God had called me back when I was in college. That was, I shouldn't say, but 30 years ago, God had called me to be a missionary of helps. I do not know what that meant, but I said, Lord, whenever you want me to be there. And so when I went down last year, and Mike was just praying and talking with us as a group after devotions, and he kind of went around to each of us and said, God's already got a purpose for your life, and why are you here on this earth? And it hit me. He kind of went around, and then he says, Gerri, he says, you already know the answer, because God's already told you what you're supposed to be doing. And immediately God revealed to me and reminded me back 30 years ago of that call. And when I came back, I just felt so compelled to work with Buddies Ministries and to help them, and in any way I could, just to share the ministry, because my heart was touched by these people and the life transformation that we do. And I sponsored a child. I got to meet and discuss with them for about 2 hours. I grilled her. But it was just really unique as a team person that sponsors a child to have that opportunity to meet your child and talk to them and ask them what do they feel about things, where are they going in the future, what's their faith like. And that was exciting for me to hear that from her, because she's graduating this year. So to be able to see and hear that, that was really moving in regards to that sponsorship child program. Would you like to talk?
Yeah, I'll talk. My first trip this year. Highlights of the trip, I guess everybody keeps talking about all the different aspects. In the construction phase, Gerri and I, those of you who have walked on the diving board that they put between two ladders when you have to work on the ceilings or up high, and it's doing this. Everybody is kind of balancing themselves. I learned to jump and save myself a couple of times. I think one of the main things was the fellows that were working with us. We drywall. We put the ceiling up in the room, and working on that small gangway that we put up. We had to kind of inch our ways around. Gerri and I were having to work around everybody to get the screws up. So the next day I came in and I said, "This is ridiculous." So who was it? Was on the with me? Huh? Luis, yeah, Luis. Luis was standing over there, and I was holding up the drywall, and I just said, "Here, the screw gun, Luis, put the screws in." And he looked at me kind of funny, and I said, and I grabbed the roof, and I just pointed, and I gave him some screws, and I said, "Put them in," you know? And the grin on that boy's face was just amazing. And I found out he'd never done it before. Neither one of them had ever put drywall up. So the rest of the drywall, we kind of just shifted it, gave them the guns instead of having to do all the walking, and held up the roofs. And they enjoyed it. They were having a great time. Did play Uno with an 8-year-old who spoke no English, and I speak very little Spanish, like very poquito. That's one word I do know. And under her rules, she won. But that was okay. And then in Comiagua, I had a really great experience with an older gentleman when we went to, we had service, and he offered me his seat that he was sitting on. I mean, it had a log he was sitting on. I sat down on the log, and as we did the service, more people started showing up. So, and there were ladies and with little babies, and so I got off my seat, offered the seat to the lady, and one lady, the older lady, and then as I stood around, another lady came in the middle of the service, and there was a tremendous amount of racket. I mean, she was making so much noise. Things were banging, and it was like, didn't she know a service was going on here? So she opened up her metal shack door, and bang, she went in, and you could hear all this commotion going on inside the shack. And all of a sudden, she comes out dragging all these chairs. Starts setting up chairs. So everybody had a seat. And I thought that was really cool. And at the end of the service, the one gentleman, and I'm sure he's not up there, but his picture's on one of the pictures. He came up and he just grabbed me, and I couldn't understand why. And I didn't know the man. I couldn't speak any real Spanish to him. But it was really interesting the way he just grabbed me and hugged me. And I thanked him for being there, allowing me to be there. And for those of you who have gone, now I noticed on the sheet, if you the chore chart, they have everybody as usual, has their days that you have certain chores. It seemed like for some reason, my name kept getting scratched out here and moved over to dishwashing. And I figured, well, I guess they want me to do the dishes again. So, and I didn't think much about it until Mike walked in, and then Mike walked in and he says, "You doing dishes again?" And I said, "Yeah, Mike, my name's been changed again." So I did a lot of dishes. So I guess I had to make up for something, huh? But it's a beautiful trip. It is long, and it can be tiring, as everybody knows. We flew out of Harrisburg, but it's a great trip, and I suggest to those of you who have never gone, go. Those of you who have gone, go back.
I was just thinking of one other thing when he was mentioning Louise. When we were in Comiagua, I went with Louise's team. The youth go out and they share the gospel, and they go into their different areas and go house to house, and that's what Louise was doing. And I was with him. Louise did not know any English, and of course I knew no Spanish, but we went to this one home, and the gentleman, they're sharing the gospel, and they're reading the Word of God, and this man was there, and of course he made his mom, elderly lady, get up and had me sit down. And I sat down, and then they started sharing the gospel with them, and I was just praying. I mean, if you don't know English, or if you don't know Spanish, it's just in my heart. I was just praying that whatever the words were saying, that it would just reach this man's heart. And this man just looked at me, and he said, in English, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And he's just, putting his arms, and I was like, what is he saying? Sorry for the environment, sorry for what? And, so he just kept praying, what does this mean? And, he said it several times, and my heart was just kind of breaking, like, what's he so sorry for? And then, and of course, Louise couldn't explain it, so I had to wait until we got back to where I could ask Mike, and he asked Louise, and then it just really hit me that the gentleman was so sorry, he was so convicted of his sin, and that he just felt that. And it's like, we all, when we come to trust Christ as our Savior, that's the first point. It's like step by step. Some of us come real fast, if you say, to the Lord, but others, it's like, just having that, repentant heart that he had. I don't know if he wasn't quite there, but he already realized that he was a sinner, and I was just thanking the Lord that I had the opportunity to be there and just pray for him, that he got that far. And I think, that was part of it.